In this video, we're going to learn about multiplicative factors and percent increase and decrease. Complete the table below. Write the multiplicative factor as a ratio over 100 and a decimal. So the idea here is if you receive a 25% increase, the new percent or whole will be the previous amount, your whole, new percent of whole, plus the increased amount. So the new percent of the whole is 125%. Okay, so an example of this is if you received a raise of 25%, okay, we could find 25% of the whole, and that would be your raise amount. But if we wanted to find your new salary, we would take your old salary plus your raise, and your new percent of the whole of your salary would be 125%. Now, as a multiplicative factor, we're going to write this as both a fraction and a decimal. As a fraction, it's 125 over 100, and we're not going to simplify. As a decimal, 125 hundredths is, move the decimal 2 places, 1.25. So, if you receive a 25% increase, your new salary is 1.25 times as large as your old salary. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Now we have a decrease. Okay. So a decrease, an example of this that we've seen in the past is when maybe you had a 13% off a sale item at the store. Okay. So the original price of the item was 100%. It decreased by 13%. Okay. So we said the new amount wasn't 13% of the original price. You subtract off 13%, which means the new percent of the whole of the sale item would be 87% of the original amount. Okay. As a multiplicative factor, this is 87 over 100. And to write this as a decimal, we'd write 0.87. Let's look at the next one. So here we have a 4.25% increase. So that increase means we're going to add to 100%. And that gives us 104.25%. Okay. Now we're going to write this as a fraction. So this would be 104.25% means over 100. And eventually we're going to put these all in the calculator, so we don't care if there's decimals in the fraction, and we don't care about simplifying it. To rewrite this as a decimal, okay, we move the decimal point 2 places to the left, or if you'd like, 104.25 dividing by 100. Notice it just moved the decimal from between the 4 and the 2 places to the left, so we have 1.0425. Now a 12.2% decrease. Since it's a decrease, we subtract the amount from 100. Okay. This is going to be minus 12.2, gives us 87.8%. The multiplicative factor as a decimal is 87.8 over 100. I'm sorry, as a fraction. As a decimal, we move the decimal 2 places to the left, and we have 0.878. Now a 115% increase. Okay. That means we're going to add, because it's an increase, 115%. Which gives us 215%. As a fraction, this is 215 over 100. As a decimal, we'd move the decimal 2 places to the left, and we get 2.15. Okay. So a 115% increase is 2.15 times as large as the original amount. Let's look at one last one. A 99% decrease Since it's a decrease, we subtract the value from 100 and we get 1%. So as a multiplicative factor, this is 1 over 100, which as a decimal is 0.01.